and welcome to the States of Matter podcast from the Institute of Refrigeration's Women in RACHP network, the show where we explore people, perspectives, and pathways that keep the world of cooling and heating turning. I'm Lisa Jane Cook, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Amy Richardson as my co-host this month. Amy works at Adcock Refrigeration and has a lot of experience in industry, so I'm really excited to have her with us. Hopefully she'll share a bit of her experience as well. She's also been a long-time supporter of our network, and she brings some brilliant perspectives from the field. So welcome, Amy.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi. And in this episode, we're catching up with Lizzie Dunlop. She's the key account manager at Danfoss, and she's a real force within our industry. Lizzie's known for her energy, her technical know-how, and her passion for building strong customer relationships. She's also an advocate for inclusion and professional growth, and she's been seen to making waves as part of a new generation of leaders in our industry. We're going to be chatting today about her career journey and what it's like working with global customers and the skills we need to thrive in a fast-changing industry, all within Lizzie's sort of trademark of her brilliant, colourful, passionate self. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know Lizzie a little bit better as well and get some insights into her career. So should we get started?
Thanks, Lisa. That's so lovely. Yeah. So what do you guys want to know?
So can you just give us a little bit of background about yourself? You know, sort of how you found yourself in this industry is always a really interesting question to start with.
Yeah, I, like many others, fell into it. I don't think anybody, unless they've got family or anything like that, know about this industry as such. So I was looking for full-time jobs after finishing uni. So I graduated mechanical engineering and decided I didn't really want to sit behind a desk all the time. So started looking at kind of technical sales jobs. Found one, applied, didn't get it in the industry. And I was like, oh, it's okay. I don't know. I don't know enough about that industry. I don't actually think I want to do that aircon. Who does that? Kind of thing, especially when I live in Scotland. And then kind of forgot about the industry a little bit, kept working at Pizza Hut, kept applying for jobs and found another job in the industry. Didn't quite put two and two together. And it was a technical trainee sales engineer job at one of the wholesalers at HRP. And it was covering Glasgow and the west of Scotland. And yeah, I fell in love with it. I absolutely loved it. So I done that for about a year. And then John Bilson phones me up one random Monday, and I was very lucky that I had planned my full week out. That doesn't happen very often, but I had a full week of meetings booked in other than Friday. Because Friday in Glasgow, you can kind of walk in most places and take them in a coffee and have a chat with them that way. And he's like, oh, I've got a job that I'd like you to consider doing. Have you heard of this? It's the national sales manager for OEM. And I was like, yeah, I'd seen that job, but typical woman, typical me, being only very young at the time, went, nobody would want me to do that job. I can't do that job. It's going national. So I hadn't even thought of applying. And then, yeah, I had the conversation with John and basically that was that. So I done that for another further 3 years until COVID hit. And then a job came up at Danfoss and it just it made sense at the time. I always thought jobs don't come up at Danfoss very often. So they don't. So I took the plunge and started at Danfoss nearly 5 years ago now. And yeah, it's been onwards and upwards ever since. It's been brilliant. It's been really good.
It's really interesting. And like, as you say, people fall into industry. I was going to ask Amy, how do you find yourself in the industry?
Well, Lizzie kind of touched on it, family.
You're the other side.
I'm the other side of that.
It's one or the other, isn't it?
I think my grandma told me that I was about 4 when I first said I wanted to be a refrigeration engineer. So, yeah, I used to, my dad was a marine refrigeration engineer, would take me on boats with him. No health and safety in the 80s. So I used to go for a day out on the boat and look at the engines and just fascination started from there and just went with that. So Lizzie, did you say you did mechanical engineering at uni?
Yes.
So what kind of drove you to do that? Because it's quite unusual.
Oh yeah, I was one of 5 girls in the full class, I think. And I think one of 2 that actually ended up finishing. We had quite a few dropouts, even the boys' side, to be fair. It's a tough course. But for the girls, a few more had left or had moved on to other courses, a few changed halfway through to product design and stuff like that. But yeah, I had a techie teacher at school So woodwork, metalwork, graphic design teacher. And she was a force to be reckoned with. She was like 4'11". The boys were all terrified of her. And in a lot of craft and design classes, you kind of get the people that maybe don't like school, put it that way. And there was loads of fights broke out, and it's not the best place for a fight to break out when there's chisels and stuff in the room. And I remember having to run and get this teacher because the male teacher couldn't handle it. The class, it was just going, and I had to run and get Miss Sinclair at the time, and she just comes into this room and just shouts, "Right!" And all the boys stopped. Everything stopped, and I just went, I want to be like her when I grow up, because I'm 5'2", so I'm nothing height wise as well. So I was like, oh, I really want to be like you when I grow up. So originally the plan was to do the engineering degree and go into teaching, but then I done summer camp, and that was hard enough. I loved summer camp and working in Camp America and stuff like that, but I couldn't imagine every single day being like that. Teenagers are hard work.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I don't know if I really want to do that. And then that's when I was working at Pizza Hut and the likes, I realised I really enjoyed talking to people in the sales side. So that's when I thought, well, I can kind of combine two loves. I can combine the technical side and then the sales side. So that's just sort of the kind of job route that I kind of took myself down. So yeah, I just really wanted to be like Miss Sinclair. But it's crazy because she was the first department head of technical in the whole of my county that was female.
Wow.
So that was really cool. And since then, I think there was 6 girls I know from school that are all techie teachers because of her.
Wow, amazing influence she's had. Yeah, that's fantastic.
I don't think she realises how much of an influence she has had, but yeah, it's been pretty cool to see.
I think that's often the way as well, isn't it? Because you kind of, she's going to be doing her thing in her own world, but she's not going to see what's gone on after they've left her.
Exactly.
So I think, again, we have the themes and the stories that come up over and over again, and it's back to that, you can't be what you can't see. And that, you've just really demonstrated that in this story, that how she was inspired you to follow the path that you've followed. That's why it's so important that we all share our stories. It doesn't matter where we are or what we're doing, but we need to let people know that it is possible.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I've got 2 young nephews, and they know that Auntie Izzy, as they call me, is an engineer, and she looks after fridges. And they don't quite understand what size fridges, but they know that that's what I do, kind of thing. And it's good for that, I think, because they're 2 young boys, and for them, they wouldn't necessarily know that girls could do that. And in their mind, there is no kind of gender norms for the roles. They're just like, well, Auntie Izzy's an engineer. Of course she is.
So on Christmas morning, you get to put everything together, because that's what I get. It's Auntie Amy, the engineer, she can build it.
Yep, exactly. My sister works in a hairdresser's, and the fire system alarm box was going off. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there full head of foils, and she comes running up to me and hands me the kind of instruction manual with all the electronic diagrams, and she's like, "You're an engineer, you fix it."
Yeah.
And there I am standing looking at this panel going, okay, well, this is what's wrong, and this, right, okay, we need to, and it's like, they just assume that we know everything.
Yeah, it's all just one big.
It's all one big thing.
Yeah.
But it's always good fun.
I suppose it's one of those things, can you trade it off for something else though? So if you're building the toilets on Christmas morning, surely you can't be expected to wash up as well.
Well,
100%.
Very good point.
See, in my household, my sister's an engineer as well. And because she doesn't have children, I'm always like, oh, you can go and play with your auntie and she'll help you do those things. So I'd always palm it off on my sister.
Yeah. It's the good thing. That's what families are for in the first place.
Definitely.
You've been in industry, so what's it, at least 10 years now? Is it all approaching 10 years?
Approaching 10 years, so about 9 years this year. So quite a wee while now. I can't believe it's gone so fast. I think because we had the COVID years as well in the middle of it. But yeah, it's crazy how quick it's came around.
Do you see yourself staying here, or do you think you might
No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm too ingrained in it now, I think. I don't think I'd know what I could do if it wasn't in this industry, sort of thing. So, yeah.
What is it that is the pull? What is it that makes you want to stay here?
I think it's the people, to be fair. The people have a lot to do with it. I've got some really good influences who I work with and are on committees with and things like that. And I think there is a real camaraderie within the industry. And I think that always really helps.
Yeah, I think it's something that I've found, and I've started to call it really a community now rather than an industry or a network, because we really are there to support each other. Like my experience lays predominantly in the manufacturing side. So, I worked for Kelvin, I worked for heating and cooling. And we've got three manufacturers within like a 5 mile radius. So you've got coolers, condensers, you had Kelvin, you had heating and cooling. And when I worked there, the support that each of the manufacturers had for each other, like if we ran out of return bins, we could phone the other guys and like, yeah, come and get a box. You can bring them back next week when you've got your delivery. And I don't think you'd see that in any other industry, like manufacturers supporting competitors, because that's what they are. But there is
Yeah.
that community, that collective where you understand actually, if they don't get that product out there, letting someone in the marketplace down. And, when I need something, I can ask them. So that's something I think that's really unique and special that we've got. We've definitely got that support for each other.
Yeah, there's a few of us suppliers that are kind of similar ages and stuff. We call them suppliers, but they're manufacturers in the end of the day. And we're all similar ages, all been in the industry a little while, but we've always got that person at the end of the phone. So sales can be a lonely job if you're out on the road, but you all know that there's like 10 other folk out on the road that day. So you've got that kind of community, as you say, to phone up and be like, oh, so how are you getting on? How's this going? And whether they be a competitor or they could do a slightly different kind of avenue within the industry, you can still pick up the phone and have a chat with them. And it's just a really nice, like you say, it's a nice industry to be in for that.
You touched on committees as well. So you're quite involved in a lot. Do you think that really has an influence on the industry as well? The fact that we've got these working groups where people put aside who they work for and what they're doing as a day job and come together for the greater good. Do you think that really influences that?
Yeah, I think it's really helpful. And obviously I've been on the IOR committee for 7 years now, I think, in Scotland. And yeah, I think it's really good because it brings either contractors that would be competitors. So we've had contractors, big contractors and smaller contractors that compete for the same jobs day in, day out, or then come together at a committee meeting and, don't get me wrong, argue about certain points and stuff like that, but also are there for the greater goods. And what we do in Scotland, we do a lot of work with the apprentices and stuff like that. And it's really nice to hear the big companies' problems with apprentices are similar to the same as the smaller companies and stuff like that. So it's just really good to kind of bring everyone together in the same room. And again, I don't think many industries would do that, or many networks.
No, I think we're really lucky. And how did you get involved in the committee work?
Yeah, I got involved quite early on because I'm not pushy, but I just really wanted to do everything. When I first joined, I was like, oh, I can do this and I can do that. And then it's having to make sure you also take a step back and realize how much you can put on yourself. But I was really lucky that when I was working at HRP, Danny Watson was on the IOR committee. So there was days that I was in the office and he would leave early and I'm like, oh, where are you off to? And he's like, oh, I'm going to an IOR meeting. And I was like, oh, how did I get involved? And he's like, you've only been in the industry 6 months, Lizzie, calm down. Kind of thing. I was like, I know, I just want to learn. I just wanted to absorb everything. So yeah, so that's how I kind of got involved. I think one of the sales guys from Dean and Wood retired, Stuart Hetherington. Now he'd been on the IOR committee since for years, and he retired and left. So a spot opened up. And I remember the chairperson at the time, Julie Murray, she phoned me up and she's like, I hear you'd like to join because Danny had mentioned it in passing. And I was like, yeah, of course I'd like to join. I'd like to know more about what it actually is. And then I just sort of kind of fell into roles within the committee from there. And I think because I was one of the younger ones on the committee, I got landed with social media. And then all of a sudden it just exploded and you get more and more roles from there. kind of thing. So yeah.
I have to say, I am really impressed with everything that the Scottish committee achieve, because you have little to no resource, but I think it is that network that you've got, especially because there must be some people that are really remote as well with this sort of landscape in Scotland, but you still manage to bring everybody together.
Yeah, we try and cover areas as such. So we do Glasgow as like the central area. And then our chairperson's in Aberdeen, which is like 4 hours away from, people don't realise quite how much is north of Scotland and north of Glasgow, to be honest. Everyone thinks it stops at Glasgow and Edinburgh. So we try and do, when we're doing cool talks and things like that, we try and make sure that we do one in Glasgow and one in Aberdeen. We haven't done one in Aberdeen for a little while now, just timings wise and stuff, but they will be starting back up, and we're doing a lot more with the colleges. We've actually got 2 of the lecturers on the committee now, which has been great because now we're doing loads more with the colleges. So we had a cool talk, 2 weeks ago, and had 70 students in attendance, and it was on demystifying heat pumps. And then we opened it up as well for non-students to attend, and I think we had another 15 kind of other IOR members that just wanted to come and learn about it, which is great. So yeah, we're doing loads of things like that, and we also done the visit to the Clyde heat pump as well for all the students, and then we opened it up for members. I think again non-members were 30 odd as well, and because we put it on Eventbrite, it was actually really interesting. A woman had found it on Eventbrite and signed up.
Oh,
she was not in the industry, but she lived in the area and wanted to learn about the Clyde heat pump. So she came and attended and really enjoyed the day. And that was really cool to have, and a bit random, to be honest. But she'd found it on Eventbrite and signed up because we open it up to anyone. But yeah, she wanted to learn more about the industry and what this big heat pump that was on her doorstep was all about.
That's really cool. And kind of inspiring. It's now making me want to go on Eventbrite and see what's going on in my local area.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff on there. It's always quite good. But I just thought that was so cool that she just randomly stumbled across it and thought, do you know what? I'm going to go out for the day and learn about this.
That's really cool. I really like that. She must be a really interesting person as well to have that kind of curiosity. And
yeah, I was gutted I didn't make it that day. I went to last year's visit with some of the older students. So I didn't get to meet her, but I remember Adam telling me about it, and I thought, that's really cool. I wish I'd got some more details, to be honest. But yeah.
That is really cool. So we're just saying, so you've been in industry almost 10 years.
Yeah.
But you have achieved a lot already, and you've still got so many years ahead of you. And it feels a little bit early to be asking this, but what sort of has been your highlight or your proudest achievement so far in industry? And I say a little bit early to ask because I'm convinced you're going to go on to do amazing, like brilliant things. We'll have to watch this space. But what are you really proud of so far?
I think I'm really proud of becoming vice chair of Scotland. I think I see it as a real honour and a privilege. It's kind of thing to be nominated that by the committee and everybody to be asking also, when are you chair? Because they know I've been on the committee for a little while, and I'm like, well, I need to be, there's a process, guys, and how to explain that to certain people. So I think, yeah, I would definitely say that's one of my proudest achievements in the industry, I think, so far, because it's an honour and a privilege to kind of be in that kind of title, I suppose.
It is, but it's reflective of the passion that you've got and the efforts that you've put into it. So, you've only been on the committee a short time, but you've contributed so much.
Appreciate that.
And you join a line of fantastic chairs as well. Scotland always seem to have, you just got the best people.
We're just all really passionate. I think because in Scotland, in general, this is not just in the industry, but in general, whether it be sport or anything like that, we're always kind of forgotten about, or like the poor cousins sort of thing. So I think we always feel like we have to, well, if we want it, we have to go out and do it for ourselves. And I think that's what happened and why the Scottish Committee was founded by likes of Forbes Pearson and the likes. So I think that's why it works so well, is because we all know that if we don't do it, we won't have anything, kind of thing. We'll just be left.
It's funny you mentioned that because I saw a post on LinkedIn and it was an advertisement for a national award, but they'd very clearly highlighted that it is a national award and that includes people in Scotland, which it made me think. It was like, yeah, I wonder, because everybody always focuses on London and the southeast, but you guys are up there, and I suppose also like the southwest probably gets forgotten a bit in England as well because it's just so far away.
Yes. I think it's very similar in that sense. And that's why the Hampshire do their own thing as well, because they probably feel a bit out of it where they are, and Newcastle's similar. And I know Newcastle's starting to do more and more, and they're kind of reviving that committee, which is brilliant. And it's really good to hear and get phone calls from them say, well, how are you guys doing it? And what works for you guys? And it's really nice to kind of have that camaraderie, like we've said, between the committees and them all actually talking now. I think that's what's been needed for years.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And it's great to see revival of committees and branches and new committees and branches coming through. We've just got to work together. It's the only way we're going to get through this. Things are changing at a really rapid pace. Technology, industry, jobs are changing. We're all going to have to reskill, and we need each other really to support and get through this. I think, I really just very proud to see people coming together like that across the industry. And it's people like you that are inspiring that. People see you in much the same way as you've seen other people that, have inspired you. What you're doing is making other people go, oh, do you know what? Maybe I could have a go at that.
Oh, I appreciate that.
You just got to keep going.
Exactly. Keep pushing.
So we talked about your tech teacher at school. Is there anybody else that's been a big inspiration to you? Maybe a family member or someone else in industry?
Yeah, well, Sam Paris, massive force of nature, basically, of a woman. She's amazing. She done my interview along with Danny up in Glasgow, and I remember her walking in these massive heels. You could usually hear her before you could see her because of her heels and her voice, to be honest. And I just remember being like, oh, okay then. And then having the interview with her and learning a little bit about her. And then she was sort of my line manager as such. So I got to go out and days out with her. And I just loved everything that she stood for. And she was so passionate, and she still is so passionate about the industry and so heavily involved. And I was like, oh, okay, this is someone to watch and to look up to and stuff. So I think, I'm very fortunate to have these people. And then male of obviously Stephen Gill and Steve Benton and these guys, they've really championed me and other females. I know that Steve Benton put me through my City and Guilds HVAC, which was really good. So it meant I got a better understanding of the industry. He didn't need to do that sort of thing. So I've been very fortunate to have these champions that have kind of looked after me and helped nurture what they've seen in me, I think. So I'm really lucky in the industry. And John Broughton as well is a massive one. He's just, if there's anything about fridge that he doesn't know, it's not worth knowing. I think, especially in the commercial land. And I don't think I'd have survived at Danfoss without someone like that there, just to pick up the phone to and be like, can you explain this to me, please? Or where do I find this? So I think we're very fortunate in this industry to have many male and female allies trying to support and push us to go further. What about you guys? Who's you guys do you look up to in the industry?
Amy, do you want to start?
Oh no, go on, Lisa, you start.
I mean, it's no secret for me that Steve's been a massive sponsor, mentor, advocate. He's just there. And the thing I found about Steve that's really interesting and really makes him different is that he's not there telling the industry that we need women to be doing things. He's behind the women telling us that we need to be doing it, that we need to stand up and speak for ourselves, that we need to take that opportunity. And I know, he's obviously supported hundreds of women in industry, but in the UK in particular, being an advocate, getting us onto panels, shows, webinars, call talks, pushing for us to be on judging panels so that there's a more diverse view across those things. That's what Steve does, and that's what I think really is stand out about him, is that it's not about him telling people that we need to have women. He's like, you've got to do this. He will push us forward. So he's been a massive influence for me. But in a similar way to you, Lizzie, I've had some really technical support as well in the background. So Dave Gillett, who owns Coolers and Condensers now, he was the technical director at Kelvian when I started there. He gave me a lot of support. And he actually sat me with Mark Natman, who's now one of the, well, he's the MD at Coolers and Condensers, but he had so much industrial knowledge. And he said, you're not working on the same team. I'm going to put you next to each other on a desk. And he's like, if you need to know anything, you ask Mark. And, you know, in a similar way to you with John, I could literally go, I don't understand this. And he would explain it to me. So I'm really lucky to have had both of those, sort of like a technical, but also that personal development and empowerment from Steve.
Yeah, I don't know how many messages Steve sent me over the years of, you need to do this, or you should do this. And Amy, you're probably the same. I bet you he's the one that got you signed up as a STEM ambassador. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd add to the list, you know, ladies like Lisa. Sorry to be cheesy, but while you're in the room with us, you know, yourself and other ladies on the Women in Refrigeration Committee, you're just so positive and helpful and all rooting for each other. It's, you know, that really kind of pushes you along and wants you to do more and be out there. And, you know, seeing your LinkedIn post, Lizzie, your bag everywhere and stuff. It's, you know, it's such a, I don't know, a simple idea, but very impactful and really draws you in. Like, oh, where is she this time? And like, look at that view.
Yeah, the travelling backpack seems to get a lot of traction somehow.
But you say it's just, it's one of those, it's almost like the cliffhanger, isn't it? Because we want to know where you're going next. And when the next post comes up, we're like, oh, let's see the next episode and Lizzie's back.
I know everybody's telling me that Danfoss needs to get me like a nice proper hiking backpack. So I'm going to advocate for that to Marcus and see if they'll do it. But right now, my wee rucksack's doing me well.
Yeah, it's doing very well.
Yeah, it does come, it genuinely does come everywhere with me. So it's just so handy. But yeah, I usually tend to give them away at trade shows as a raffle prize. And then everybody's like, oh, it's just a backpack. And then they open it up and it's got some goodies and stuff in it. It's always got a can of Iron Brew as well. Because I've always got Iron Brew with me.
I was going to say, is that your secret? Have you got a boot full of Iron Brew?
I do. Usually I've got a case in the car. You can't get it very many places down south. So it's especially the sugar-free ones. So yeah, I usually have a boot of Iron Brew down south, and all the other manufacturers like do come chasing me for it at trade events because they know I've got some.
I think tip for you, Home Bargains usually have.
Yeah.
So if you pass up, because my son absolutely loves Iron Brew as well. If he catches a glimpse of it in the shop, we've got to go in and get one.
It. Brilliant.
But yeah, that's where you need to go.
Perfect.
It's quite funny though. So all the things you could have in your boot, you've got a crate of Iron Brew.
Yeah. Crate of Iron Brew. Exactly. And my Danfoss travelling backpack.
I'm one of those people. I don't know. I mean, I'm quite messy. I've got a lot of stuff, but in my boot, I've got loads of stuff. I like to think of it like if I get stuck somewhere. So I've got, you know, a box of tissues and I've got a couple of bottles of water. I've got some snacks. I've always got snacks in my car. Blankets, you know, yellow jackets. I'm like, if I get stuck on the motorway, like those stories, it was a couple of years ago when it snowed and then everybody just ended up sitting on the motorway for a couple of days. I'm like, how am I going to survive?
Yeah, I've got female urinals. I've got everything in my car just in case. Silver blankets, just a bit of everything. Because you never know.
You'll need the potty if you've got a boot full of Iron Brew. Though.
Exactly, that was my reasoning.
I feel like I need to go through my boot of prepare. I think I've got a hard hat, boots, and dog steps.
Oh, dog steps.
That's cute. I think it just depends on how much you're on the road, though, and what your chances of getting stuck.
Yeah,
obviously, where I live, I'm on the road quite often.
Yeah, not got too much of that problem here.
Yeah.
So, thinking back career again, and like I say, you haven't been in the industry very long, but it also feels like we've had you for such a long time because you are such a powerful character, full of life. If you could give one bit of advice to your younger self, knowing what you know now, what would it be?
I think I covered this in the ACR journal as well. I think what I would say, and I still say it to this day to myself, is I belong in that room. There's a reason why I got into the room in the first place. But sometimes you can go, oh, why am I here? And it's that imposter syndrome
Mm.
that you get. So I think I always have to remind myself that, well, there's a reason why I'm in this room. I deserve to be here. I've worked hard to be here. And they will have to listen to what I have to say, sort of thing. And I think, yeah. So I still, to this day, I walk in and I'm like, oh gosh, why am I in this boardroom with X kind of thing? And you have to kind of keep reminding yourself. So yeah, I'll tell my younger self that and myself today that.
I love that. Just having that message to yourself, that little chat. There's a reason I'm at this table and I belong here. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just so important because there's so many times where I've walked in and I've just been, oh my gosh, why am I here?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just and I still feel like I'm that 20-odd-year-old. I'm not now. But I still think I'm like that 22-year-old who's just came into the industry and I'm like, oh gosh, why do they want to listen to me? Kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's important. I think as women that we all kind of have that imposter syndrome. And I know Lisa done an episode on it a few years ago with Karen, and that was a brilliant episode because it really made me think. And I think that's where I took that away from was we deserve to be here and there's a reason.
Yeah. Have you seen the American rugby lady? I can't think of her name.
Oh, Iona.
Yeah. And somebody asked her about imposter syndrome and she was just like, never heard of it. Don't get it. I earned this. I'm here. Like,
yes.
It's an attitude. Yeah.
She is incredible and she's done so much for women's sports and everything else. But she's just been by herself. Like, she's just been herself. Yeah. She's not doing anything different. No. She's just out there just going like, well, I am good.
Yeah. Just own
because
it.
As a man, that's exactly what they do.
Yeah. Nobody asks them. Yeah.
Nobody asks them. But we feel like we have to justify it all the time.
Yeah. Or be humble about it. And no.
Exactly. But she's just
what
like,
she's achieved.
Yeah. Exactly.
Going to channel her from now on.
I think that's the way to go. Exactly. She's just done the Sports Illustrated campaign as well again.
Yeah.
And she's just been over there doing all that. And I'm just, she's just incredible.
Yeah, definitely. So you've been very positive about your career so far, but have you had any tough moments and how did you handle those?
There's not tough as such. I think when I first started, I was like, oh, like this is a lot. And I loved it and it was really cool. And I think if John hadn't pulled me in when he did and said, oh, look, I think you should go down this route, I don't know how long I would have stayed in. I was really enjoying it, but I just was a wee bit lost. I think at the beginning, I think everybody can relate to that at one point and go, is this really for me? Kind of thing. So when John pulled me in and was like, I really think you'd be good at this. And then I did try it and I was like, oh, actually, I quite like this. Kind of, oh yeah, trying something a wee bit different. Yeah, I think I would have tried something else at some point, but I think now I'm very ingrained into it and I wouldn't leave. I don't think you could pay me to leave nowadays. It's quite sad. But yeah, I think they were kind of one of the toughest moments was when I was like, oh, is this what I want to do? And yeah, you just start questioning everything, I think.
Mm. So in the future, what does success look like for you now, do you think of?
I think maybe looking into some global accounts. Right now, I've been taking on more and more of the wholesalers in the UK and getting more and more responsibility that way. But yeah, I think more of a kind of global key accounts role would be nice. Got a long way to go.
No doubt you'll get there.
But yeah, I think that's kind of the next step once I get my head around the UK a little bit more. But yeah, I think I'd quite like to do that. And I'd like to have a team at some point. I think that would be really cool. And yeah, whether that be male or female, it'd be nice to have some people to kind of bounce ideas off of a little bit more. And we have just hired someone in the UK for the South, which I'm very excited for. She starts very soon, August. So it'll be really nice. My boss is like, oh my gosh, I've got 2 of yous now. But he is excited and he does see the benefit. And yeah, it'll be a good one to watch. But yeah, it'll be good to have that other person to bounce ideas off of, finally.
Yes, yeah.
It's really, really interesting that you actually found a female to fill that role as well. I love that.
I know. I mean, it was pure luck. She did just apply and want to go for it. But yeah, I was very excited that I was just excited that a colleague, to be fair. I've been kind of covering for so long, just with obviously with what happened with COVID and the likes, and people had moved teams rather than actually left. So that meant that they were still on the payroll, and you know what it's like in big companies. It's like, well, they've not actually left that job, and you're like, yeah, but they're not doing that job anymore or as much. So yeah, it was really good to actually we got loads of applicants and things like that, but it was really nice to get another young female on board. It'll be good.
Keep our eyes peeled.
Exactly.
Yes,
Starts in August, so not too much longer.
Like in my career, and I don't know how it is for you two either, but well, I suppose you've already shared that you were lucky enough to work with Sam, but I've had very limited other females working in I mean, when I started at heating and cooling and I was just sizing coils, that department, there was 3 women and 1 guy. But after that, and that was so early in my career, no other women. And I'll be really honest, like when I started at Kelvin, I was 20, 21, and I was the youngest in the sales team. And when I left 16 years later, I was still the youngest in the team kind of thing. You know, like just that this not even, you know, not women joining, but there didn't feel like there was any talent coming through at all.
Yeah, it's tough. I was really fortunate that when I was working for Bayer, there's loads of females within Bayer, and most of them have came from sales admin and worked their way up and had the training, done the courses, and maybe came from completely different industries at some of them. But they take the time to actually encourage you and push you. Like say, John phoned me after a year and was like, "Oh, you want to do national?" Which I would. So it is really good to see more and more young females and just young people joining the industry. We are getting there. I hear the colleges are getting full again, and we're struggling to fill. Struggling for lecturers actually, because there's that many young ones that want to come into the industry.
That's good to hear.
Glasgow has a waiting list for their apprenticeship programs because they just don't have enough space year in, year out. They are one of the only colleges in Scotland that does refrigeration, and we are quite big, as Lisa said earlier. But yeah, it's nice to hear that all the colleges are kind of filling up their spaces quite quickly, and yeah, it'd just be nice to have more female apprentices coming in.
It would be. But I think it's a really interesting point as well, the fact that Glasgow's got a waiting list, because my college where I studied, fridge closed last month. So it's a bit of a different picture in the south.
That's it, yeah. And Grimsby obviously shut. And nobody thought that was going to happen.
Is that shut? I'm into Grimsby.
Yeah, Grimsby shut last year.
Oh, that's sad. I didn't realise that.
It's a changing picture, isn't it? But I'd be really interested to see where, like, if we plotted out the apprentices nationally, where they all are, because it sounds like they're all in Scotland.
I do know Liverpool's got loads. Manchester has loads. Because they've got what? So Liverpool and Manchester, there's Liverpool College, there's Manchester, then there's PTRC. They do apprenticeships as well, as far as I'm aware, or did. So yeah, they all seem to be kind of in clusters. But again, we don't have enough companies willing to put young folks through them.
Yeah.
And that's because they're worried that they're going to leave.
Yeah, we've got our own training school at Adcock's.
Yeah.
But we do still struggle to find kind of good guys to go there. And, you know, we'd love a girl, but there's no one at the moment.
And I think this is where the IOR is doing really well in getting the STEM.
Yes.
Getting people in to schools to actually tell them that you can be a fridge engineer. And it is interesting, and there is quite a bit of money to be made on the tools.
Yeah, so it's lucrative if you put the hours in.
If you put the hours in.
You have to work hard. You know, it's not an easy money maker. But I think the other thing, you talk about the stuff that the IOR is doing, but also I don't know if anybody's seen World Refrigeration Days campaign.
Yeah.
Yes. How amazing is it to see such a diverse pool of engineers being featured like daily? We're having daily posts of people, and these are people that we wouldn't have connected with because they live elsewhere. all reaches of the globe. It's just great, isn't it, to see so many different young, fresh faces.
Yeah. No,
it's just great.
Yeah, we just need to get more of them, I think.
Definitely.
But just, I'm going to go back as well to something that you said, Lizzie, about people coming up through sort of the sales route and having started in, sort of the sales admin side of things and moving through. Maybe that's a route that more people should be focusing on, is actually just really working on the talent that you've got, nurturing that talent, and not going, right, so you're working in that role and you can't move to something else, but actually what do we see in you that we could transfer into another role?
100%. And I think it's been covered in the past, but people kind of look down on the people that have come at the sales route as well, I think. And actually, these people have put the work in and put the effort and the time in as well. And I'm not saying that apprentices haven't, but it is a different route to come down. And I've seen posts online and digs being made about these people, about that's all the IOR is. It's filled with suit-wearing salespeople, for example. And it belittles what these people are actually doing. And it belittles the fact that, well, if you really wanted to do it yourself and you wanted to be on these committees and that, do it. As like these suit-wearing salespeople are the ones that maybe are working for companies that will allow them the time. They have the networks and are actually willing to put in the time out with work. So like most of my IOR stuff gets done at night or in my lunch breaks. And I think which are few and far betweens. Do you know what I mean? Or if I'm in the car, I make all my phone calls because it's easier because I've got those 3 hours down to Manchester, for example. But if engineers are complaining that there's not enough real engineers on the committees, they should own up and join. There's spaces. We're screaming out all the time for spaces to fill places and to do technical talks and stuff like that, but they're just staying quiet. But they'll come to the talks. They just won't want to put their head above the parapet a little bit. And these people that are in potentially more sales roles they're putting in the effort and the time.
It does take up a lot of time.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of volunteers. We've got over 100 active volunteers. There's a lot of people putting time in, but it is just that, it is time. And I know that the majority are like you, Lizzie, it's evenings, it's weekends, it's that little bit in the lunch break. And like you say, we don't often get a lunch break. That's overlooked, isn't it? And if you do go out and you get seen, well, I saw them out at the shop.
Are you on the phone? Where are you? I've just nipped out to grab something from the shop for my lunch because I've not had time to go and get anything. Yeah, it's a rarity these days, but yeah.
So yeah, I think the message there that we want to share is that there's room for everyone, and if you want to get involved, give us a shout.
Just say, yeah, there's space and there's resources and there's things that we can learn from all aspects of the industry, whether that be sales admin, people that work in wholesalers, people that are sending folk out on the jobs, like in offices at Adcox, for example. Like the women and men that work in the office are just as important as the engineers.
Yeah.
Because the business wouldn't run without these people.
No, people forget that, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, the guys in purchasing that are buying like the spares and things like that. They might not understand necessarily what the spares do, but they do understand the importance of why that's not there on time, kind of thing. And it's, I think everybody just needs to remember that not one job in the industry is more important than another, because the industry can't work if it's not working together.
Yeah, that's definitely something we reflect in our group, isn't it? Like a mutual respect for each other. And we always try to share our experiences as well, because we have all got very different roles. What it's really like to work in that role, and that really helps us to understand each other, and we take that experience back to the office as well. So there's lots of benefits of getting involved as well. There's a lot of insights when you start to work with other people across the industry as a whole. Yeah, definitely. So one other thing we always talk about is, have you had a moment where you just thought, did that just happen? Or sorry, what? And I shared one a while ago where I was up on a roof looking at an adiabatic system that was struggling a bit. and a guy came up to me, bearing in mind that I was wearing a yellow vest and a hard hat and all the safety gear. And he said, "Are you all right, love? Are you lost?"
Oh no.
So have you had any experiences like that, Lizzie, that you just think, sorry, what?
I've had a few. I think everybody can kind of, yeah, are you lost? Or when is the engineer turning up?
Oh yes. Yeah,
I
what time
had
will
that
he
one.
be here?
Yeah. So I remember I turned up to a site and it was an air conditioning job. And bearing in mind, the cafe was open. So they were only putting in a wee split system. And I was there to go and size it up quickly. And I came from meetings, so I was dressed in a dress with heels. And the woman in the cafe was like, "So is the engineer coming?" I was like, "I'm here," sort of thing. I was like, "I'm just sizing up a standard aircon. It's not," I was like, "I've just came from my last meeting, so I was just popping in." And yeah, she was just in shock that I was the one that was going to size up the equipment. And then she's like, to be fair, she did then try and get me to climb over a wall to see where the outdoor unit was going to go. It's like, I can see from here, it's okay. I don't need to quite climb over the wall. But yeah, you do get those moments. One of the main ones was when I was seen as too young to do certain things. That seems to happen quite often. And it's like you say, Lisa, I've not been in the industry for forever. I have only been in the industry 9, 10 years, but I am passionate. I do put a lot in. And yeah, there's been a few people on committees and other things that have said, "Oh, do you not think you're a wee bit young to go for that job yet? Or to go for that?" And I'm like, no. It's like, I put the time in, or I've put more time into this than other people. So yeah, that happens. And I know that Sam wrote something or was writing an article about that about a while ago about age discrimination, whether that be the opposite way. And I know that does happen, but I think she was quite surprised when I wrote to her and was like, actually, it happens the other way as well. You can be seen as too young to be getting these. So yeah, it's quite important to kind of remember that it doesn't matter. Age is just a number at the end of the day. If people are willing to put time and effort in the work, why are they seen as too old or too young?
Yeah.
So yes, their experiences might be different, but it's still nearly 10 years. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, yeah, that's kind of one of my major ones that I was quite surprised at. And it was somebody that and people that had championed me in the past or had allowed me to do things. And I was like, so why do you now all of a sudden think that's a problem? Kind of thing. So yeah.
Hey, yeah, that is a strange one. I mean, no one's ever said to me that I was too young to do something, but people often are surprised when I say that I've been in industry 25 years.
Yeah.
They're like, what?
How does that work?
Yeah, and I've still got 25 years to go. It feels like I've got 20. I don't know. They're going to keep moving that retirement age and we're all just going to die here.
Yeah, of course. I'm never getting to retire at this stage, guys.
It's been a while since I was too young for anything.
I don't think we're about the same age, Amy.
I think so, yeah.
At the same time, I didn't think I was too young for it either, and neither did a lot of other people. But there was a few people that had said something. I was like, "Why does it matter?"
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
It shouldn't come into it, should it? It's, if you're competent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Competent, and also I think it being the right time in your life as well. There's some obvious advantages to being a little bit younger. You're a little bit more flexible with your time. You haven't got perhaps the same commitments that somebody's got, a young family or,
Of course.
As we get older as well, we start to collect animals. So, I've got a dog now and a couple of birds I have to look after. So it's not as easy just to pop off and go somewhere. I've got to make arrangements. So yeah, it's a really interesting viewpoint. Have you had any moments like that as well, Amy, where you've just sort of gone, I can't believe they just asked me that, or this just happened?
Many. I think one of my main ones that I remember when I was young is probably in the first couple of years of my career. And I went for a job interview at a big M&E's in London and for a project engineer role. And I was told at the end of the interview, great, we'd love to take you on. But Karen on reception is going on maternity leave. So what we're thinking is you can do the project engineer, but could you also cover reception for 9 months?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
I managed to very politely decline. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, thanks, but no thanks. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's again, that's so strange. I think the devil in me would have been like, yeah, okay, and then I would have been absolutely awful at it on purpose. What
Be like,
job
oh,
I interviewed for?
or am I getting her maternity wage? Am I
Yeah,
getting
am I
the
getting
wage
that
difference?
and that salary? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
fair.
I'd like to say it was in the 50s, but no, this was like early 2000s. So,
It happens. My
yeah.
friend was invited into a big meeting last week at work, and I was like, "Oh, that's really good. You're getting to do more and you're learning more." And she's like, "Yeah, I sat there taking all the notes."
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, "Why?" She's like, "Well, my boss asked me to," and I'm like, "Yeah, but that's not the only reason why you." No, no, no. She was like, "But I was quite glad to take the notes because it meant I could learn stuff." I was like, "As long as you're okay, and that's what you needed to do to learn things, that's
Yeah.
fine. But you should not be just there
No.
just to be the note taken." And
But you can't take part if you're busy scribbling everyone else's thoughts down.
of course, to be fair, I will give it to her. She did say that that was good for her because she was still learning and that was beneficial for her. But I was like, make sure that that's not happening all the time so you can
Yeah.
actually listen better and maybe put your insight in because your job is just as important as theirs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too easy for that to become the norm that the one female in the room gets to
the
do
notes.
that. Yeah.
It's one of those things, and again, you get this like stereotype, don't you? But it's almost as if, well, because women are really good at taking notes, or you're better at writing fast,
Yeah.
and it's like, but what would you say if I said, I don't know how to use this screwdriver? You'd be like, well, practice, learn. So that's what I'll normally say is, well, if you're not very good at it, you should probably take the opportunity so you can improve. Like, you'll be quicker next time because of all the stuff you've missed.
Definitely.
Or women are more organized. Well, no,
Oh.
I know a lot of women that aren't.
Yeah. We just hide it well.
Yeah, we just hide it. Yeah, that's the main thing.
Don't share too many secrets, though.
No, exactly.
We're very organised. We're great at everything.
Yes, of course we are.
Oh, it's been really nice chatting to you both.
Thank you so much.
I think we could talk all day. I suppose just before we go, just maybe like touch on sort of like we like to share also funny moments. So not only those like the TF moments, but have you had anything happen that's absolutely hilarious as well? And like at the time you just wanted the ground to swallow you, but in hindsight you just kind of laugh about it. We've all got one.
Yeah, there was one that happened at the start of this year. I introduced myself to someone I had met before, and it's so hard because every event you go to, the guys are always in tuxes or black suits, and you see them, and you only ever really see these people at these events. So I was at and I met this person. I had one meeting with them years ago, face to face, and then the rest been on the phone or at these events. So I walked up and I was like, "Oh, hi," and I was talking to someone they were talking to who I could recognise. And then I turned around to the other guy because I didn't want to be rude and was like, "Hi, I'm Lizzie from Danfoss." And they just went, "Yeah, I know." And then didn't even tell me who their name was. And I walked away and I'm going, "Who is that? Who is that?" And then I sat down and I went, "Oh my gosh," kind of thing. And I just wanted the ground to swallow me up because I did know the person. As soon as he started speaking, it was like, "Oh, I do know you. Oops, daisy," kind of thing. But it's just because, like I say, they all wear the blooming tuxes.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to distinguish people. That's why I love Howard Noble. He's always got a funky one on or something like that. So he always stands out a little bit more. So yeah, note to guys, wear a funky tux. So you actually, it's easier. But yeah, and it's also the problem with there's so many men in this industry. It's like, yeah, it's hard to distinguish sometimes. So yeah, I could not believe that happened. So I am very sorry if that person does listen to this. I do know who you are. I just felt really bad. I did try and make up for it later on, be like, "Oh, it's been a long day. I had to drive 6 hours to get here." But yeah, I don't think that went down too well.
Absolutely rubbish with names.
Yeah.
I genuinely, so if I could meet you 5 times and still not remember your name. I know that I know you.
Yes.
I'm like, what's your name? So I just tell people that I'm just really bad with names. If everybody had a number, I'd be fine. But
yeah, some name badges at these things. I really do stand by that. Everyone should wear a name badge at every industry event because there's too many of people to
Very
remember
true.
everyone's name. I always do the trick usually with someone and be like, oh, this is such and such, and get them to try and introduce themselves. But it doesn't always work. And I'm left there standing going, I can't remember who this person is to introduce them back.
So funny. Amy, have you got any moments like that? Funny things that have happened that
I've definitely done that a few times, Lizzie. You're not the only one. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. No, what about you, Lisa?
Oh, I mean, I've shared a few before, but there was the time I've shared this one before, but I'd come out of the bathroom at work and one of my colleagues was like, I can see your underwear. I'm like, what? I tucked my skirt into my tights.
Oh,
no.
You're just like, oh no. I was like, I'm just going to sit. And we had like these little dividers and I just sunk down in my chair for the rest of the day.
Oh.
I can't believe everybody saw that.
Oh, God.
I'm sure everyone's had a moment like that, or like a little slip down the stairs, and you're like, I hope nobody saw me do that.
God,
Or
Yep, I once fell into Warren's arms in my first IOR dinner, coming down the stairs. Yeah, because I couldn't walk in my heels. I couldn't walk in a long dress. But I was like, I don't belong. At that point, I was like, I don't belong here, type thing. And I was like, basically had to catch me at the bottom of the stairs. And he's like, are you okay? And I was like, I am now. Kind of thing. Yeah. We've all done it.
Yeah.
The struggle is real as well. I totally get it and obviously I'm small like you in stature, so every dress you buy is about 3 meters too long.
Oh God, yeah.
It's always a struggle. It's always a struggle.
Definitely.
It's mad. It's been really good to chat with you both. Thank you
definitely
for joining us. It's been, like I
Thank
said,
you
it's been
so
a lot
much
of
for
fun.
having us.
I'm sure we could talk all day.
Definitely.
So thank you for listening to this episode of States of Matter, brought to you by the Institute of Refrigeration's Women RACHP Network. You can find this podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, so whether it be Podbean or Prime, just check us out. You can also access it through the IOR website. If you'd like to learn more about our work or get involved with events or join the conversation, you can find us on LinkedIn. Just simply search for Women in RACHP or head over to our website, www.ior.org.uk, and look for the Women in RACHP pages. You'll find all about our events, podcasts, blog, it's all there. So whether you're just starting out or you've got years and years of experience, our network is open to everybody. So we'd like to encourage you all to come over and get involved. But until next time, take care and stay cool.